1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to Captive Conversations. I'm your host, Adam from Captive Wi-Fi. Join us as we dive into behind-the-scenes stories of hospitality leaders exploring tech, operations, and marketing through the eyes of the experts. Let's get the inside scoop together. A little bit nervous, to be honest. You are a bit of a celebrity, to be fair, and you are very humble as well. So it's all come round. So I've seen all your podcasts, obviously, like the 7 you do a week. I don't know how you do it, but yeah, this is a good opportunity to understand and to listen really for your story. We always talk about storytelling, right? So I'm really interested to find out more, and I've heard little glimpses on digital hospitality and your podcast, but it'll be really good to sort of to know more. And I've been telling everyone about you over here, so now they get to actually know you, because we're going to post it on ours, which is really nice. So which is good. Okay, so I'm going to jump in. So the traditional stuff is questions from the last guest. So we had Dan Hawkey from Tipjar. And we got legislation coming over here in October where tipping is going to be completely legislated. I think it's happening over there in some states, to be honest. But it's going to be really interesting to see what's happens with service charge. Slowly, the states are changing. So they are doing some stuff in the US, but it's going to be very interesting over here to make it fair for tipping. I literally have 2 different companies. But his question, one of them was, if there was one change you could make in hospitality, to hospitality, what change would it be? And obviously he did for the UK because he's here, but generically in hospitality, is there a change?
It's a big question. You know, I'm grateful, Adam, for you having me on the show, and anybody that's listening or watching to this podcast. I mean, I think one of the coolest things for me is where we are in 2024 and moving beyond because of the internet. I think that big change is coming, to be honest with you. I think that we are very early with internet adoption. And I know that seems crazy thing to say, but I work with some of the biggest brands in the restaurant space and in the restaurant technology space, and they have huge teams. You know, I have companies that have thousands of employees, tens of thousands of employees, and a lot of people are trying to figure out, what is YouTube? You know, how do we start a podcast? How do we make a better post on Instagram? How do we make something that isn't terrible on LinkedIn? And I think the companies that do start doing the work, you know, you've been doing the work. You know, you say that I'm not a celebrity. I'm just willing to
Don't
look
be
stupid
humble.
and sound stupid. I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, I knew that I had a failing restaurant, and if I didn't start doing whatever was in my means to promote the restaurant, talk about barbecue, talk about San Diego, build community, if I didn't do those things, we would have gone out of business. And, you know, because I've done those things for so long, I've learned along the way that the internet is very powerful. I mean, I consider you one of my closest friends, and I've never met you in real life, but we've spent hours, you know, tens of hours, maybe hundreds of hours together, either through your podcast, through content, through our LinkedIn lives that we do. And I know that when I bring my family to London, I'm going to be welcomed by you, by Scott Turner from Auden Hospitality, by Richard, by, you know, Andy Jones, by, you know, Chris Fletcher. Like, these are the heavyweights of hospitality in the UK. And just because I'm willing to talk about the stuff that we're doing, not just in San Diego, but in the United States. And, you know, now I've been fortunate to travel to Canada and different places. It's a very small world that we live in. You know, it's a very small world of people that are willing to speak their truth. You know, I started talking a lot about public speaking because I think it's very applicable, because we talk about content. You know, Adam, you're an outlier. I've been talking about this stuff for 7 years. I go on stages, I talk to executives, I talk to marketing teams and sales teams and founders and restaurant owners and bar owners, hotel owners. I tell them all the same thing that I'm going to say on this show. No one's coming to tell your story. You have everything you need in your pocket.
Yeah.
You can take out your smartphone. You can tell a story using video. I mean, you started posting videos on LinkedIn, and it was magical to watch your community and our community, the digital hospitality community, starting to engage and learn not just about Adam, but learn about London, learn about the UK, learn about hospitality, learn about technology that you guys are doing.
So do you think that sorry to jump in, do you think that a change that you would make is to, or a shift change is to let people know, one, not to be scared because your phone is content, to just whip that phone out and trying to push these companies all over the world to show their story? I do think a change is to get them to, I think the issue I see and the problem in hospitality is everyone's terrified. They're terrified of getting that phone out. They're terrified of what the reaction will be. But realistically, there's been some hilarious videos out there of like people doing NSYNC dance moves in Indian restaurants and getting their staff out and, just being silly, because you can be silly to start with. People just want to see the reality of it. Do you think that the change you would make in hospitality would be more present, do more content, and don't be afraid?
So back to what I was talking about with public speaking, I can tell you in the United States, the number one human fear, do you know what that is?
Public speaking. I don't know actually, really, because I mean,
public speaking.
Over what we see, I think we're a little bit more afraid. To be fair, I think when I speak to colleagues of mine in the US, and we see them talking and we see them chatting to people, and there's no barrier to open. Like, we would walk into a room and be a little bit quiet, a little bit reserved, and then sort of slowly speak to people. And then we see that is in the US as they're going to go out, and you can go out on stage, anyone can go out on stage and do it, but it is tough, right? I guess.
So the number one fear is public speaking. I'm sure that is a universal fear. I don't have any scientific data to back that up, but the more that I do this, the more that I realize the fear with content creation and what I call smartphone storytelling, it really comes down to public speaking. We don't want to look stupid. And we don't want to sound stupid. We don't want to get made fun of for our ideas, our thoughts, how we look, how we sound, who we associate with. It's easier to be anonymous and to just go on LinkedIn and look at what everyone else is doing. But when you do that, you don't get to have the magic of having these kinds of conversations. When we think, it's funny, I don't want to push anybody. I was having this conversation with my wife before this podcast started. She's from Bulgaria. We've been married for 16 years. She's been with me since we started the restaurant, since we started the media company. She knows what I do every single day, in my consulting work, our client work, the launching shows for companies, doing our own shows. And she made a comment to me the other day. It was like, you need to stop focusing on people that don't believe in aliens. I'm like, what? Like, I knew exactly what she was talking about.
Yeah.
My mentor teaches me not to go after people with a closed mind. I can't go and convince an executive that YouTube matters for them.
Yeah.
I can't convince, somebody that's a chief marketing officer that they should not only should the company make better content on LinkedIn, but each individual in sales, in marketing, founders, engineers, all of those people should also be posting content. I can't my job isn't to convince them.
Yeah.
What my job is to find people that already believe in aliens.
Yeah.
By aliens, I mean the internet. Like, we already believe in the internet. We already understand the power, and we need help. Like, stay curious, get involved, ask for help. That's what my grandfather taught me. 3 principles, 3 things that I talk about on every show, on every stage. Curiosity. Why I love podcasts is you have to be a curious person to listen to a podcast.
Yeah.
You have to be a curious person to read a book. You have to be a curious person to go to a conference. Those type of people, they want to level up, and they also understand that we don't have all the answers. If we don't have all the answers, how do we get more information? We ask better questions. We get involved. To the point of anyone that's listening to this show, you see Adam podcasting, you're like, Adam, you're doing amazing. You're like, you already had 27 episodes. This is incredible. You're doing all this content. You're all over the place. And then they'll say, everyone else has a podcast. Like, I don't want to be just another podcast. There's only 2 million podcasts on Apple Podcasts.
That's crazy.
2 million.
And the stats are, I think most people give up after how many?
25% will publish 1 episode and quit.
Yeah.
500,000 of those.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but it's also not a lot.
Yeah.
Understanding that storytelling is foundational to who we are and what we do and how we reach bigger audiences, how we recruit better talent, how we get that customer that we want to reach, how we get that brand deal, that partnership that we're trying to go after. I mean, when Chat GPT and all this AI and ML, when they're scraping the internet, where do you think they're scraping? If you don't have anything on the internet published about you from multiple perspectives, from your voice, from your company voice, what are they going to take?
Yeah.
If you don't tell your story, someone else will, or it won't be told at all.
I had a guy a guy called Mo from Pre-Shift last week, and his LinkedIn is just like nothing. There's no photo. It's all very like nothing. And his story on the podcast just blew me away. I've done this. I've been here. I've done this. I went this. We did this. We built this. I went from this company, and this is what we did. And I learned this. And I was like, that's amazing. I mean, why aren't you one? And he's laid back, just talking about it. I was like, one, tell everyone about this, because he's got a great company. He does lots of referrals. It's fantastic. But the breadth of what he does isn't shown in what he's doing. So just editing and just changing his LinkedIn a little bit. There's so many people I speak to have like just a nothing on their profile. That's just one step. But let's just go on to, now I'll go on to the next question, which was, if you could give an award to one individual in the sector for the impact they've made, and what they've done, who would you give it to? I know that's specific to where you are, but it could be anyone.
Specific to where we are.
Well, in the US, because I think you wouldn't be going to like in the UK hospitality. So in well, I guess the world, from what you've seen, if you could give an award to someone in the sector, other than you, because you're doing awesome work, but someone in the sector that you think they're doing amazing work for the impact they've made in the sector, who is this?
I mean, I'll keep it London based, and I'll call out Chris, from Tech on Toast. The reason why I love what Chris is doing is that he's building community. He's building community through content, through in-person events. He believes in a rising tide lifts all ships. I wouldn't know about him if he didn't have the courage to do the things that he does. And I believe that there's a Chris in Sydney, Australia. I believe there's a Chris in Toronto. I believe there's a Chris in South Africa. I believe there's a Chris in Dubai. And I believe there's that type of person, whether it's a Chris or a Maggie or whoever it is, a man or a woman. It's those people that realize, like, number one, it's not going to be easy. Number one, it's going to take a long time. But the most important thing is it will be worth it.
I think the amazing thing of what Chris has done here is, back in, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, there used to be a group of people that would join, operators that would join together and meet, but there's been nothing. So it's been very much like, people would talk on WhatsApp groups, but there was no real face-to-face. So here, it's amazing. And I was talking to a girl that was working for me, doing some work for me in New York. And I was like, you've got to go and meet people. Like, you want to be in hospitality? She's like, I want to get another job in hospitality. I want to do this. And I just went on to some of the event websites, and there were like 9 or 10 hospitality meetups. I was like, just go to the meetup, meet people, talk to people, tell your story, tell them what you want to do, where you are. As a hospitality, it's a different beast. It's a different beast, not like corporate environment when everyone sits in suits and doesn't talk to each other. Everyone's really open. And that's one thing I love about this industry. And then that's how I got, I spoke to Scott, and then found this group, found you, and then obviously, and so on. But I think it's amazing on what Chris is doing and what you are doing to building the community. I think more people should do events to because you guys do some of the big events, right? But I think and Toast does some of the smaller events in each city. I think I love that there's little meetups. I know you guys when you get the opportunity, you will meet everyone from the group, which is really cool. But I know Scott's coming over soon. But okay, I'm going to dive into standard questions, and then we can talk more about other stuff. So the first generic question we have is your best hospitality experience?
My best hospitality experience. I will go back to June 28th, 2007.
Yeah.
So this is not your traditional hospitality experience, but this is something that I feel deeply about. Our thesis is that every business is in the hospitality business, whether they know it or not. And this hospitality experience was the birth of my first son.
Oh.
So we went to Mary Birch Hospital here in San Diego, which is world renowned. They have a phenomenal hospital, but as great as the care was, the medical care for my wife, what I was most impressed with was the communication, the attention to detail, listening to me, listening to my wife, communicating nurse by nurse on a whiteboard, figuring out who we are, the little gifts that they gave us along the way to new parents, the education that they gave us if we wanted to take a class on breastfeeding or changing a diaper or swaddling a baby. I walked out, obviously as a new father with my son, but I walked out feeling like I was George Clooney. Like they just took care of me like I was a king. And from the conversations that I've had with other fathers and mothers that had their children born in Mary Birch Hospital, they have the same stories,
Same consistency.
the same consistency. You know, there's magical moments that happen at airports, that happen at stadiums, that happen at hospitals, that happen at funeral homes. That's hospitality.
Yeah.
You know,
It's absolutely. Okay, on to the next question, which is best, I know you're gonna, it's an easy answer for you. Best hospitality tech.
you set me up with that one. Well, for those that don't know, I am officially the Toast unboxing guy. Toast is the primary technology partner for our barbecue restaurants. In 2020, July of 2020, I told my rep, Will Eppard, who's my sales rep, that we were a barbecue media company and that we were going to tell stories about onboarding with Toast and going live with Toast and all the good things, all the bad things. We were just going to build in public. And if he was interested in that, then we would be happy to switch from Aloha over to Toast. We were very impressed with what they were going to help us do with online ordering. A lot of the tools that they had were going to put us where we wanted to take our barbecue business. And we did an unboxing video, me and my general manager. You can go to Google and put Toast unboxing video, and guaranteed probably one of the first ones to show up will be me and my general manager.
Did you, were you, because I saw in a little episode a little while ago, did you call them and ask them to make you or did you ask them to make you a nice box, or they knew?
No,
Or are they
no.
just,
I mean, that's a good question. I should check with Will to find out, you know, how deep he got with like, make sure the boxes look good, make sure they all come on time. But I'm not sure. That is a good question. I will do some storytelling due diligence to find out how deep it got.
Because to be fair, I have seen it and I will put it in the show notes. It was freaking awesome, but it was an awesome like box as well. Like it was like
they did a brilliant job with branding. They gave us everything. We unboxed everything, you know, like a kid would do on Christmas with Christmas presents. But that was the beginning of, you know, a really deep relationship. We made a go live video with Toast. Eventually, during the pandemic, I was interviewed with Sam, the cooking guy, by their CEO at the time, which is Chris Comparato. We did a virtual Sam, the cooking guy, taught all of the toasters how to make 5 different types of toast. So it was me and Sam, the cooking guy, and Chris Comparato. So it was our first real big piece of content that we did together. And then I got invited to their IPO on the New York Stock Exchange.
I saw that photo. That looked awesome.
Yeah, I was there with, you know, 20 other restaurants that were way more successful than us, that had been on the platform for much longer.
But a very interesting point is, what other tech companies would invite their restaurants, even big clients, to an IPO? Yeah. I mean, just in the past, it would never happen. They would never do it because you're not important, because their technology is more important. And that's one thing I do like about the brand is the importance of the customer.
It was, the customers were forefront. It was amazing. They had a huge, you know, pop-up restaurant display right in front of the New York Stock Exchange on Wall Street. It was, you know, we feel like it's our company, which is what you want them. And it's hard to do the bigger that you get. But, you know, now I'm on the customer advisory board. So I go to Boston. They just got a new headquarters in South Boston, the Seaport District. So I meet quarterly with a group, SMB group, small, medium-sized business group. I have a show called Restaurant Influencers, which is on Entrepreneur, that's sponsored by Toast. We have a YouTube show called Family Style.
And I love that because you're able to actually go and meet the other toasters and see the effective change that's made. Because it's quite nice. You're not only shining a light on the brand, of their company and giving them some PR, but you're also showing that the technology beside it, which is really nice because not many providers do that. Not many providers out there are visual, and they've benefited from you being able to be able to show this because there are lots of brands out there using it, and even you got the ones and twos, like you're not even doing large groups, it's just family stuff, so it's like the family run businesses, and it's really nice to see. But I'm just going to ask, and we're going to go, I keep doing this all the time, we're going to go back in time, back. How did you get into hospitality? Did the Cali barbecue wasn't a barbecue business, it was a sports bar, right? Originally. Let's talk about your beginnings, because like you have talked a bit about your history with your grandfather as well, which is an awesome story. Where was the first key into hospitality? Did you have another role before, or like where did it begin? I love that.
So for those that are watching on YouTube or on video, I'm holding up a photo of me in 1995. So I was 13 years old. I've got this ridiculous chef hat on, but I'm at the dishwasher. So I was washing dishes at the age of 13. And the craziest thing about this photo is we have this exact same restaurant. We have a dishwasher at the same exact location.
Oh, really? Wow.
So now I now own the restaurant where I was washing these dishes.
So you were pot wash.
I was a pot wash.
Amazing.
Yes.
And that's an interesting foundation, because we speak to people who are like, directors of businesses, head of project management, and the majority all started in the basis of hospitality.
Yep.
So so you started a pot wash, and then
I started a pot wash.
And then what was the route
pot wash?
Afterwards?
So I never met my father. I was raised by my Bulgarian grandfather and my Japanese grandmother. I was raised in privilege. La Jolla is where I grew up. And for those that don't know, La Jolla means the jewel. It's a very affluent, very nice place in San Diego. I went to private education, but my grandfather was a hardworking Bulgarian. So he was a medical doctor. He also had commercial real estate, residential real estate, and he also had this restaurant. So when I was 13 years old, the woman that was running the restaurant, she left and he took over the restaurant business. So he said, families work together. So we're going to work, instead of going on vacation on the weekends where we would go out to a summer home type of thing. He decided that we were going to run this breakfast restaurant. So at 13, when all my friends were playing sports and going to the beach, I was driving out, half an hour from where we lived to go out to our breakfast restaurant, wash dishes, pot wash, bus tables. Family business. And I did that for all the way up until I was 21. So from 13 to 21, 8 years.
So the question I have as well is, and I ask this to a lot of people, when you have the origins in hospitality, even in pot wash, but if you were, obviously you did other things other than pot wash we'll talk about in a second, but when you work in hospitality, you meet different people. And I feel that, and other people do as well, that when you interact with people in hospitality, you have such a vast range of people that you meet that it enables you to probably have empathy as well as have an understanding of people. So I try and tell everyone we speak to, younger people, like my eldest is finished her school. She wants to be a hairdresser. She loves chatting to people. She's a grafter. She's fantastic. And she just wants to speak to people and help and work with people. And everyone I've spoken to who've started either in pot wash or was behind the bar, who in hospitality, their aspect on life is slightly different. Their aspect on how they talk to people is different. And it's helped them be a bit more grounded in talking to people. Do you find that helped with you as well? Because you can be quite shy, right? Shy person can be quite shy. You could be in education, go to uni. But I think being immersed in hospitality really does flip a little switch.
It forces you to be proactive with human connection. Understanding that you don't need to wait for somebody. You can be the first person to smile. You can be the first person to say hello. You can be the first person to welcome someone in. And I think, growing up and seeing all the families, I hate that. I'll be honest, I hated going to the restaurant on the weekends. Like I was like, this is the last thing on earth that I'm going to be doing. Like, this is terrible. There's got to be something better. This can't be my life's calling. And yet here I am, in hospitality, as deep as you can get, and I would see no other life for me. I absolutely love what I do, and I love what I do because it allows me to meet all different types of people. And the more that I see a variety of people, in San Diego, in California, in the United States, in the UK, in Bulgaria, the more I realize we're all the same. You know, when you think back to like Canterbury Tales and the innkeeper, like we're all villagers, we're all travelers on the road, and we want to be welcomed. We
Yeah.
want to be welcomed at the inn. We want to feel like somebody cares about us, that they remember us. And if you can do that, those life skills are transformative.
So when did it get to when did you end up running the restaurant? So was it all the stages and then running the restaurant, or so
Yeah,
finish school?
eventually when I was in college, I was managing the restaurant, and we got to a point where it just didn't make sense. With my grandfather was growing up, getting older, and his focus wasn't on just the restaurants or the real estate. He wanted to write his life story. So I found somebody else to lease the restaurant, and we managed that for a while until we sold the property. So we sold the property in 2004, and then it wasn't until 2007 that the new owners came back to me and one of my best friends from college and asked us if we wanted to take over the restaurant
Oh,
again because
really?
yeah,
Wow, that's like a full
we took
circle.
yeah, so we took back over the restaurant. We added a full liquor license. We got
Yeah.
into the sports bar business and eventually got into barbecue. And now here we are
So
doing
what year was that then when you reopened as a sports bar, right? That's when you took the
2008.
space.
We opened, yeah, 2008 we
And a
opened.
slightly challenging time decided to reopen. Uh,
Yes.
what was that
Yes,
like?
very challenging. It, when you're young, I was 26 years old. It global economic downturn didn't matter. We felt like we had an opportunity. We felt like, where our restaurants located, there was no other offerings. Like they
Yeah.
tell you location, location, location. We thought it was a strength that there was nobody else around us. We learned quickly that that was not so much true. In fact, good location does help you with, higher ability to get more customers in. But, I think looking back, it was one of the best things that I've ever done. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. And
Yeah.
it's still, 16 years later, we just opened up on the San Diego Navy base. So we have a QSR, quick service restaurant, 800 square feet. We took over a former Kentucky Fried Chicken. We're right next to Subway and Pizza Hut and Five
Amazing.
Guys and Panda Express and Starbucks. But, we have a very successful location. We've only been open this is our third week.
Amazing. That's amazing. I've
It's an
seen the videos all, and it's really nice because I feel like I'm part of it. Like the sharing that you do, it's really nice because it's the sharing that you do that makes everyone feel like they're part of your journey. And I think
yeah,
that's the thing that I share with other people. I'm like, look, this is really simple. It's just a video of someone
yeah,
walking in. Like it's
yeah.
nothing special. It's not like,
Nothing special. Yeah,
right? But it's effective and your heart goes right because you see the
yeah,
global brands and then you see you and it's interesting. It's really nice, and I like seeing like non giant brands going in because it also I don't know it's something for I love it with the local community. So then
appreciate that.
when did you flick? When was like when was the flick to barbecue? What was it like? So sports
Uh,
bar, and then like right now we need
Sports
to
bar. It was about a year in where we were starting to do a lot of charity work, so a lot of fundraising for local youth sports and a lot
Mhm.
of breast cancer awareness, the fire department, police. We were doing all different types of charity work. And we're like, this is a lot of administrative, like doing a fundraiser every single week. Why don't we just do one event once a year
yeah
and put all of our effort and ask for help? Ask other business owners to contribute, the Chamber of Commerce, local business, and we decided, hey, let's do an amateur barbecue contest. That was what
awesome
everyone wanted to do.
yeah
So
yeah
the Spring Valley Tailgate and Barbecue Festival is something that we did for 10 years. We shut down the main street in front of our restaurant. We would have about 20 amateur barbecue teams,
yeah
all to raise money for local youth. And after we did that, a mentor of mine, he was the one who helped me organize the event, helped us put up the structure because he had done professional events. And he said, Shawn, if you want to learn how to do barbecue the right way, I'll teach you.
oh wow
You can slowly add it to your menu, and you
yeah
could use my smoker. So we had an old hickory smoker, and slowly every day by day we started adding barbecue, and we realized that it was really hard to do good barbecue.
yeah
Really hard. Like it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of expertise, and if we did it well, then it would be a compelling thing for San Diego, for people to drive all over San Diego to come out and visit us. So,
And was there much barbecue in the area at that point?
not at that point, no. There's been more, but still, it's still hard. We're a small community of craft barbecue locations here.
Because it's hard to get it right as well. I mean, even in London, there's not that many amazing barbecue places.
I mean, you're cooking for, anywhere. Ribs take us 6 hours to cook, all the way up to brisket, which is 14 hours overnight. So that's every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day.
It's mental. It's mental. It's so okay. So you slowly started to transition in, and then had you met your wife yet? Or you'd already met your wife, actually?
I met her the year we opened our restaurant.
Oh, wow.
So we opened in 2008, and my grandfather passed away the same year, which was very tough, obviously, for me, but he got to see us take over the restaurant. He also got to meet my wife.
Did he? Oh, amazing.
Yeah, him being Bulgarian, it was a very special thing for him to know that I was dating a Bulgarian woman. So yeah, that was very special.
Amazing. And then has your wife been helping you with the business at all, or she?
Absolutely.
Amazing.
She's the reason why there's a restaurant. She's the reason why there's a company. She's the reason why there's a wolf pack.
Yeah.
I mean, she's my closest confidant. She's the one that she knows me better than I know myself. She helps, chisel away at me to make sure that I'm always being a little bit better every single day. But I mean, I can't ask for somebody that's been more supportive of my crazy dreams.
Yeah.
When you have crazy dreams and you tell people, first of all, you're doing barbecue in San Diego, they laugh at you. Then when you start doing a podcast in 2017 and people are saying, what the hell are you doing? That doesn't make any sense. Like, where's the ROI? Where's the return on investment of doing a podcast? And there wasn't. I kept putting our money in for 5 years until we got our first brand deal.
Yeah.
Until we got our first sponsorship. And now we work with probably 17 different companies to do content, whether it's consulting or content or shows.
Well, on that note, we can shout out about Incentivio's podcast, because that would the
Incentivio, Data
awesome.
Delicacies. Please go check out Data Delicacies. Arun is the host.
We'll put the links. It's the editing's freaking awesome, by the way. So that's
Thank you.
That is
got an amazing team.
Yeah. So how big's the team now?
So we have seven on the team, and then for events we can go up to like 14 when we do like the full event production, like we do at the Chicago National Restaurant Association show.
Yeah, that production was pretty nice. How many hours of footage did you have for the Chicago one?
Oh my gosh, we had I think 4 terabytes of footage. Yeah, it was insane. We're still publishing content, like literally. Like this week's restaurant influencer show is Pop Menu CEOs, and we've got a lot of really good stuff still.
That's
from that
awesome.
show.
I also think that they don't do enough. All these shows, they're great, and they're one day, and they might do like a one video of someone walking around.
I know, it's crazy,
and they just don't really think about the reality of that. So some of them in the past have done like a podcast studio, great, sponsored by whoever, but there isn't like there's so many people there, and they spend all this money. Just to have a tiny little stand, but why didn't you showcase them? Why don't they go like there's a food trader here, a food hall trader up north, and he's just whipped his camera out now, got the owner of the food trader, sat down, and he goes, tell me about your story. And they're like, oh, we came to this country from the Philippines, we wanted to bring food here, and I'm like smiling my face off. But to the point of like the tech shows, why aren't they going around and filming and interviewing and chatting? Just a quick chat, like 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Give me this is sell me the pen. Do you know what I mean? The upsell. So I wish that I'd love to have more of myself with more cameras to go out and do it just for people. But no, that's amazing. I think it's really nice because you're sharing some awesome things as well. So when was your first podcast?
2017, May of 2017.
And how did that turn? Were you doing content before, and then we're like, right, time for a podcast? You were doing I think you said your first video was you doing 6 hours of streaming, or
well, that was my first live TikTok live. Yeah, so sometime during the pandemic, I went live on TikTok. Actually, my family, my wife and the kids, they go to see their grandparents, and I go with them every summer to Bulgaria. And this year, this particular year, they went early. So it was Father's Day. The restaurant was super busy, but I was like, I'm going to go live on TikTok either until my phone dies
Yeah.
or until my arm falls off.
Yeah.
So I was there at 5 a.m. with Bernice, who's our pit master. And if you go on our TikTok, Cali BBQ TikTok, you can see, some of these videos have over millions of views. But I went live basically like QVC. Do you guys have QVC? Yeah. So like it was basically like a QVC, like, hey, this is behind the scenes. This is literally, if you came to be an apprentice at our restaurant, like this is the process of how do we make the ribs? How do we make the tri-tip? How do we make the pork butts? How do we make the brisket? And I was just fielding questions. And, for that 4-hour live, I think we had 113,000 people that tuned into that live.
Yeah.
I mean, we have all the tools. We don't need to go and make YouTube. It's there. We don't need to make TikTok. It's there.
Yeah.
We just need to have the courage to try it.
So on that note, my kid does dance in a place called Hemel Hempstead, and there's a little corner shop, just a little corner shop, whatever. And he's on TikTok shop called TJ's Late Night. And they go in there after dance, and he's filming live while doing. Hold on, guys. Let me just. I've got some clients, and it's awesome. I mean, he's killing it. I mean, I think if you had TikTok Shop back then, you'd probably sales would have
sure.
shot through the roof. So the first podcast, what was the transition into the podcast? How did you think? What was the brain shift onto that?
I mean, so I think the biggest thing for us is, number one, we had to learn how to share our own story. Like I had to have the courage to look stupid and sound stupid and use Facebook and eventually use Instagram and eventually use Google and eventually improve our website and just try out these digital playgrounds. I refer to social media apps as digital playgrounds.
Yeah.
They're just equipment on a playground. And too many people are scared of Facebook, or they're scared of LinkedIn, or they're scared of YouTube, or they're scared of TikTok. And like, it's not scary if you just go and play with it. Like it's not scary for a kid to get onto a merry-go-round. It is when you look at it and you're a little tiny kid and you're trying to get on the merry-go-round, you're like, that's for big kids.
Yeah.
But eventually you get on it and you're like, this is kind of fun. I get it.
Yeah.
You go on the slide, you go on the swings. Like they're all just tools. It's audio, video, words, and images. And the quicker that you can start to do that, once we started doing it, we realized how powerful it was. And we realized that it wasn't just our story that mattered, but other business owners, their story mattered too.
So
I can learn from other business owners.
So with the podcast, were you talking about telling stories about yourself? Were you talking about always talking about other people?
So the name of the first podcast was Behind the Smoke. So that's now that show's called Digital Hospitality now. Same RSS feed, but all the way. The first podcast was called Behind the Smoke, and the idea was like, what's behind the business of hospitality?
Yeah.
What's behind the restaurant business? What's behind the butcher shop business? My co-host, Derek Marceau, was my co-host for 100 episodes, and he owned the butcher shop. So we built a studio above the butcher shop, and we would have
awesome.
Guests.
Yeah.
We would have guests come into his butcher shop, people that were great restaurateurs, people that were great marketers, people that were great in sales, people that were in media. And we would talk about, whatever we were curious about.
Yeah.
And that was the start of what is now, a digital hospitality show. And we're producing, 3 to 5 episodes a week on that, just on that RSS feed.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so then it transitioned into from that. Where did the peak happen? Because you said you were doing it for quite a while. Obviously, people starting out. For us doing this, I'm doing this to tell people a story. This is my homage from learning from you, and I find it interesting for us because people come in, and some people. I was cracking my pants before I even started this. I was sweating before I even hit you when we started to talk. But I have people coming in and they sit down and they're all super nervous, and then after 15 minutes, because it's just a chat, right? It's a chat. It's an easy conversation, and I've had I think 5 or 6 people that've never done a podcast before. They're like you've popped my podcast cherry, which is really funny. But it's nice because now they're like, well, that was easy. That was easy. So I'm hoping the more we do here, and the more people get on, we'll hopefully let them get more content. And we're doing We're doing some operators as well, which is nice. So it's nice to hear from both. Lots of technology, but lots of operators. So there's some awesome stuff. I mean, I had William Connors on. We were talking the other day. His story is just like crazy. So next questions we have are, well, okay, let's talk about the LinkedIn anyway, and let's talk about the origins of where that started. If I'm not mistaken, when was the group? Was it during the pandemic that it was on Clubhouse?
Yeah. So during the pandemic, Clubhouse social audio app became very popular. We were very eager to test it out, to try it out, and Stover, myself, Toby, Kyle, TJ. The idea was, why don't, instead of Cali Barbecue Media just meeting, over Zoom, why don't we have a public meeting? Like, if we're turning a restaurant business into a media company, like, maybe somebody else will also want to turn their marketing into media. Maybe they can learn from our conversations.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of what is now a bi-weekly call. So every Wednesday, every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. London time, 6 p.m. London time on LinkedIn. If you go to Cali BBQ Media, you can join a live podcast. So we can get up to 17 people on stage. It's an audio only room, but everyone goes down, introduces themselves, takes 60 seconds to, who are you? What do you believe? And then we have a topic of the day. Yeah. And every single person gets to contribute their story or their lesson to the topic. And you would be amazed. I mean, anybody can go to Digital Hospitality and search Rising Tide LinkedIn Live for any of our previous episodes that Adam is on, Scott is on. We have so many awesome people. Richard. Have you met Richard Liverman?
Yeah, no.
How's that possible?
I know. We need to hook up.
I'm making that happen. I'm making that introduction right after this.
Yeah.
You'll love Richard.
I've spoken. We've sort of like briefly, virtually crossed paths, but I've not actually met him. So
I'm making that happen.
Yeah,
with Richard.
Yeah, to be fair,
Richard comes on and he teaches us proper English.
Yeah.
He gives me the proper English. He says, you Americans fuck these words up. I got to make sure.
He does have a very good accent too, to be honest. I reckon I'd speak a bit posher when I spoke to him, to be fair, because my accent changes. But no, we've crossed paths, and I've not actually spoken to him, but he's got a lot of wisdom, which is nice.
He does. Nice. He's worked with some amazing global brands, and he just always has so much value to add to the conversation.
I think the nice thing as well is that so what I do on my pod, we tend to do a little snippet of telling people about it. I sort of like break out and then tell people to join. I need to try and get more people to join. I've actually spoken to a couple of people about doing something similar just for like a group here in the UK, in London and stuff. And I've had some people going, yeah, we'll do it. So I was like, it won't be any advertising. There's no one allowed to shout about their product. It's just going to be a 20-30 minute thing. Jump in.
You want any advice?
Yeah. Go on.
You gotta pick a day.
Yeah.
Pick a time and do it no matter what.
Yeah, I need to.
A day, a time, no matter what. That's your live show.
The thing is I'm a bit of a person that just hits the ground running and goes. So we're doing the businesses that we have at the moment. We're developing software for hospitality. I'm doing this podcast, and I have a problem. And I hate that word, but I have a problem where once I start, I generally just don't stop. So I mean, literally, I think last week I did 2. And then the week before I did 3, and then I've got you, and then I've got another one that I had another 2 this week. So I'm now just starting to slow down a bit because pushing them. They're like, when's this going to come out? And I'm like, well, episode 16 just came out, and you're 27. So I don't want to do like I can't do one throughout the week, like 2 a week. Just a bit silly. So I think once I've done,
it's not. Once you build the infrastructure,
yes,
it's not silly.
I just don't. I think I worry because there's only a certain amount of time people will see. I reckon I could probably do 2 a week, but I want to give the visibility with the clips into Opus to people and give their clips throughout the week so that people are that show was there. But you're right. You're right. I do need to do
too much stuff on the internet.
There's not enough stuff on the internet. That's the problem.
There's not enough good stuff.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I think Opus. Yeah,
give the people what they want, Adam.
Yeah, no, you're right. I take that advice. Thank you. I just
Yes.
I need to put it through and
I
actually
got to be
execute.
careful with people like you when I give advice because you actually will do it.
Yeah, your episode will come out next week. No,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I found it really interesting. The LinkedIn Live is there's so many interesting insights in there, and I really thank you and the team for expanding that because there's some great connections that we've made. There's some really interesting insights in there, and it's really nice because anyone can join,
Yeah.
which is nice. So I think I want to. Yeah, you're right. I need to. You're very much a doer. And I am, but that is something that I was asking other people rather than telling people. So
Yep.
I think I'm definitely going to tell people.
Let
Okay,
me know. I'll come and join support.
yeah, yeah. I was thinking about doing it midday our time, which is a bit challenging for you, to be fair.
Nothing's
So
challenging for me.
you don't
Nothing's
sleep, so it's all
challenging for
good.
me. No, it's all good.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, so we are coming near the end, and I think the last question I had was here, just was really something advice for entrepreneurs. Like, what would you give? What advice would you give for new businesses starting, not just for building their brand? Because you're a bit of a unicorn. You're a media company and in the hospitality business and have restaurants. Like it's not many people that do what you do. Like there's people who are in media, great, and they do the media thing, but no. Shawn's decided to do 5 different things: to do production for other people, do production for himself, work with Toast, do yeah. So and listen, you've done amazing because the media company, the quality of what you're producing is freaking awesome,
Thank
and
you.
I can't wait for people to over here to see more of it. And I'm going to push Toast and Phil, who will come on soon, to get you over here so you can do family style over here.
Can't wait.
But
Can't,
yeah,
yeah, the family style's coming. It's coming to London.
I
That's
can't wait.
UK, London. I can't wait.
Yeah, you need to do a European tour with Toast. Actually,
And
no, not,
restaurant influencers. I'll
yeah,
get a lot of got a UK hospitality on the
that's going to be
entrepreneur show.
that's going to be amazing. But
Yeah.
what advice would you give to and someone starting out for a new business in hospitality from your experience throughout the wars of hospitality and for media? Like, what's the key pieces of advice you give to people?
Stop praying for as fast as possible and start praying for as long as it takes.
I like
You
that.
cannot lose if you do not quit.
That's deep.
This is a hard business, but it is a beautiful business. If you have the willingness, everything goes back. One of my favorite things as a new dad, as my son started to learn how to walk and my daughter learned how to walk, I would always teach them the Batman mantra, which is why do we fall? Why do we fall, Adam?
I don't know. Why do we fall?
So we can learn how to get back up.
I love that. I love that.
So
And
we can learn how to get back up. I
true.
mean, that's all it is. The more that you fall, the
Yeah.
quicker you learn how to get
You
back up.
have to make mistakes to learn. I think that's what it
Yeah.
is, really. You have to. So we've spoken to loads of people, and it's really interesting to hear technology providers all falling on their face and then getting back up. That our clients got annoyed, but you know what? We were open, we were growing, we did it, and they stayed with us. Our clients stayed with us, and same with brands as well. You've got to get through the hard to get to the other side. It's yeah. I think in hospitality specifically, it is there's no one really there not a huge amount of people there to support you. And if you can, and as you said, ask for help,
Yeah.
and if you can show your brand and you're willing of what you are and get back up, I think you're absolutely right. I like that.
And you're not alone. I mean, I think as entrepreneurs, that's the hardest thing to realize is that you think that you need to do everything. I thought that.
Hmm.
I still think that. I say it. I say what my grandfather taught me every day to remind myself: stay curious, get involved, ask for help.
Yeah.
There's somebody in my network or somebody that knows someone in my network that can help me solve whatever problem I have.
Yeah, hospitality is amazing. That's one thing I love about the industry is that there is always someone you can
Yeah.
reach out to anyone, and someone will know someone else that can help you. So if you've got a challenge, you're stuck with something. I think one big key advice really for this one is if you are stuck and you're not sure and you're a bit lost, there's a network out there. Digital hospitality. They can go on LinkedIn and Live and ask a question. It's free.
Yep.
You don't have to do anything and connect to people. So I think the more people connect to communities in hospitality, I think the better their life will be. Because why be in pain alone,
Yeah.
right? I think that's a really, really interesting one. Okay, we're coming. I usually do like round of applause and stuff, but I'm going to insert them afterwards because I have no buttons here with my little broadcaster. So I'm upset. I've got no buttons and nothing, but you know it's all good. I'm going to actually insert them after post edit. So okay, the last questions we have, and they could be anywhere. I don't know why that was in there. Was best restaurant. Where's your best restaurant?
My favorite
I
restaurant
like
on
that.
earth
Yep.
is a place called Ichiban. So this place is in Pacific Beach, California, and it will not be on any Michelin guide. It will not be in any best list. It will not have the most 5-star reviews on Yelp. It is the most unassuming, beautiful, magical Japanese comfort food that you'll ever have. And it's because I grew up there. I
Okay.
grew up in that restaurant with my Japanese grandmother, my Bulgarian grandfather,
Oh.
and I would go there once a week and we'd have udon noodles and
Yeah.
yakisoba noodles and chicken teriyaki and just all this amazing Japanese comfort food. And now I take my wife and my son there and my daughter, and we drive a half an hour. I live in East Lake, California. I drive a half an hour on the freeway
Yeah.
to go to this restaurant because we love it that much. It means that much. It's a magical place. And, you know, I firmly believe that every family has a place like that.
Yeah.
That's their place. That's where they go to celebrate those special occasions. That's the place when they are traveling for a long time and they come back home. It's the first place that they go to. But those places aren't really celebrated, right?
No, never.
I hope that by doing stuff like this, I can inspire more people to celebrate the places that they love, that are off the beaten path places.
I think that's the best piece. That's best play. I think that's the best piece. I generally don't look on Trip. I won't look on TripAdvisor. I would always ask someone where I'm going here. There's a WhatsApp marketing group over here.
Not where should I eat, but where do you eat?
Yeah. Where do you recommend?
It's a much different question.
Yes.
If you're a traveler, you ask, where do you eat?
Yeah.
Versus where should I eat?
Yeah, I like that.
Completely different answer.
Yeah.
Where do you eat?
Yeah. What's your favorite? I like that. Best burger.
Best burger. In-N-Out.
They're coming back. So that every year they come here once a year. I think it's just to do to get the what's it called? The trademark, whatever it is. So once a year they come over here, they kill it. Literally, they take a random shop and they give everyone last minute notice, and it's a queue of like 1,000 people. They sell out,
Really?
they close, and then they cut and they go back and they close and go back to US. And then once a year they come back. So maybe they'll be doing more.
Wow.
Maybe they're doing more here. Maybe they'll come and destroy Five Guys.
Very cool.
So, but In-N-Out is, I haven't had an In-N-Out, and I don't think I'll ever get back to that queue, to be fair. But I have heard great things.
But when you come to San Diego, I'll take you to In-N-Out.
I cannot wait. To be fair, when I went to New York, I had pretty disappointing burgers. I went to like 4 different places, and it wasn't great. So I need a better burger.
We'll get you good Mexican food in San Diego and a burger.
Love Mexican food. Best hotel.
I'm not a big hotel guy, but I will share JW Marriott. I just went to Restaurant 365. We cover their events, so they're incredible financial back office company. They had their transformation tour event, 500 executives, 16,000 restaurants represented, but they had it at the JW Marriott. And I can't tell you, Nashville, this was a beautiful hotel. The rooms were beautiful, but the food for a conference, I mean, we're talking about restaurant operators that have 100 locations, 500 locations. Everyone was talking about how great breakfast was, how great the snack was, how great lunch was, like blown away.
Well, they had to do it right, didn't they? To be fair, because, you know,
we're the toughest critics. They had the toughest critics in the room, but they knocked it out of the park.
That's amazing. We went to Thailand last Christmas, and we went to the Marriott in Phuket. There's a Benihana's inside the Marriott. And it was my daughter's birthday, so it's like a special occasion. And we drove in, and it was really strange. We drove in, and it was all the way down this long road, and then I felt like I was in either sort of like Spain or America. It was literally like an American hotel. It was a Marriott American hotel in Thailand. You walk in, you had it was huge, and they had like 5 restaurants. It was like its own complex. So it's also like a home from home for, if you go to the US, you want to go out, you can go out, you can stay in the hotel and have your creature comforts, or you can go out, and it was amazing. Okay, we have come to the end, so I really appreciate your time, and I thank you greatly. The last thing, the questions we have, our tradition we have is 2 questions for the next guest. So the next guest might be a marketer, an operator, someone in tech, but 2 questions that you would give to the next guest to answer on the next podcast.
First question is, what is the book that you have gifted the most to another person?
I like that.
What is the book that you have gifted the most to another person?
What's the book you've gifted the most?
The Alchemist.
Great book.
Paulo Coelho. Yep.
And the second question?
Second question would be, what's your favorite digital playground?
I like that. That's good. And the person I know who's coming, that's a good one for them too. So yeah. I'm gonna do a little clap here because I can only do a little clap, but I will insert claps in here. But I really appreciate your time. It's really interesting to listen to the story because you talk about your grandfather, you talk about your growing up on the LinkedIn Live, and you talk about your history. But not everyone I know that knows you knows where it all started, and it's really nice to hear that piece. We just know, really Shawn is like, it's pumping out content, and he's here and he's doing loads of different things. But it was really nice for me to hear. So I really appreciate that, and thank you. And I really appreciate your time.
Well, I hope anybody that's listening to this, that I'm weirdly available. You can reach out to me at Shawn P. Walchef, ShawnPWalchef. That's Instagram's probably the quickest, but LinkedIn's just as quick. All the platforms. But I also want you guys to know that Adam is one of a kind. I do this stuff all the time. I talk to people from all over the world, incredible leaders, incredible content creators. Adam is doing the work. And because he's doing the work, I can't wait to see next year, the year after that, compounding interest, all of those things, the 2 shows a week, the live a week, like you will see Adam will continue to do the thing, and reach out to him now.
Yeah.
If you want to work with Adam,
don't reach out to me now.
reach out to him now.
I think that it was very interesting. Listen, I just, as a little listener in digital hospitality, to just listening to your ethos and you talk, I was bought in. I was literally, I think probably the first time listened, second time, I was just bought in. I was completely bought in by everything you were saying. And I'm just taking what you do and your journey in and telling people stories. I'm just an extension of that. So I appreciate you for pushing everyone to do it, because I think anyone who's met you either has a podcast now or is about to do a podcast, which is awesome. Because you're right, there needs to be more content. I love it. I drive to work every day. I want to listen to something in the car. I don't want to listen to news. Sure. I want to listen to people's stories. So I love your podcast is freaking awesome. I think I listened to one on the way there, one on the way back. So but it's amazing. I'm also going to go all the way back to listen to some of the originals. I'm quite excited to hear
the first 50 episodes. The beginning of the podcast is a former business partner cussing me out.
I love that.
It was a brutal voicemail, but it sets the tone for you never know what you're getting into in business. And, that's why we share it's not just about successes. There's dark times in business too, and you got to share those. That's how we learn.
You've got to share them. Again, thank you so much for your time. I shall let you go and enjoy the rest of your day. I love the lovely window you have behind you. Don't open that window, whatever you do. But it is, I want one. So I might, next time we speak, I might get one. But again, thank you again. I really appreciate your time, and have a great day.
Thank you, Adam.